Have y'all checked on Justin Timberlake recently? Because I saw a video of Justin at his concert and he was like not singing. I mean, he was singing a little bit, but most of him being on stage was having the audience sing. And then I thought, you're supposed to be the one singing, Justin, because they pay you money to be there. But maybe he paid to be there and he was watching them perform. Maybe there's more to the story that I just don't know. Most people know Justin from his music career, but there was a brief period of time where Justin was really acting his little NSYNC heart out. And in 2011, he was in 3 different movies. They were all pretty popular for the time. Like, one of them was a movie called In Time, which I remember to be like an okay movie when it came out, but I was also 15 years old. So my taste in movies was incorrect. The movie also has Amanda Seyfried and Cillian Murphy from Oppenheimer. So anyways, when I was scrolling through HBO Max to find something to throw on, I watched it. I didn't even consider making a video about this movie until I realized how goofy it was. So anyways, we're gonna talk about it today. So In Time is a sci-fi movie set in the year 2169, and everyone in this movie is genetically engineered to stop aging at 25. And also, fat people don't exist in this movie, but they never get around to explaining that. Like, I don't think that's a part of the plot. I think it was just 2011. As soon as you turn 25, a 1-year countdown on everyone's forearm starts, and if it reaches 0, you instantly get pranked. And I mean instantly. Like, there's no warning, there's no grace period, that you just get pranked, and that's it. I assume this to be a human-made feature in genetics, even though I didn't notice that being explicitly confirmed in the movie, because in this movie, time is the only currency. You work for time, and you exchange time for goods and services. Time is literally money in this movie. So as expected, all the rich people can live as long as they want, and all the poor people live with literally less than a day, sometimes less than an hour on their clock, which would be a really stressful way to live. It's almost like we're 2 paychecks away from being homeless. I'm not even kidding. This entire movie relies on time puns.
Who has time for a girlfriend? I don't have time to gamble anymore. Somebody's gonna clean that clock.
I keep time, and that time is in the wrong hands.
We get it. Time is money. Justin's name in this movie is Will Salas, and I think that this is really good Hispanic representation. He's also supposed to be poor, and we can see that because he has a buzz cut and there are bars on the windows. What actually weirds me out about the whole everyone stops aging at 25 thing is that this is his mom.
You got in late last night?
I put in some overtime.
First of all, no. And second of all, I want to say that barely anyone in this movie actually looks 25, because what do you mean 25? Mom is supposed to be like 50 years old, and to me, she's just not giving mom energy. And it's not the aging thing either. It just, to me, she acts like Will's wife. Like, what do you mean she's wearing a slip dress and they're dancing in the kitchen? So for me, that was really hard to look past. Will is a brokey though, because he's living paycheck to paycheck. Or should I say, hour to hour. And there's 2 ways transactions between 2 people are made. So the first is by touching forearms, and the second is by loading up these metal stamp looking things. So mom gives Will 30 minutes for lunch, and she's like, hey, meet me at the bus stop after work tomorrow because I need to go pay this loan and I'm barely going to have enough time left after paying it. So Will heads off to work and he gives some homely orphan 5 minutes and buys his friend some coffee, because we need to know that Will is a really nice guy, and then he's always just giving. He's giving and giving and giving. He's essentially Jesus Christ. In this movie, Jesus Christ is Hispanic. One main plot point of this movie is that inflation is rampant because they're paying 4 minutes for a cup of coffee, which is like a lot.
4 minutes for a cup of coffee?
Why are you running?
Will's friend is like, man, if you could just fight like your dad, then you could make a fortune.
I don't fight.
So something that I find hilarious in this movie is that fighting is not what you think it is. So fighting in this movie is sort of kind of like a duel, like arm wrestling, but both opponents try to take the other person's time until one of them taps out. So Will's dad apparently lost one of these fighting matches because he tried to outrun the clock, but instead the clock outran him.
I don't fight.
Like, what do you mean that's fighting? Punch me in the face, you bitch. Not only is inflation high, but Will's work is also doing everything they can to pay their employees less and less, like increasing the manufacturing quota without notifying anyone, resulting in Will getting a smaller time check.
Where's the rest? Never met the quota.
And after work, Will and his buddy hang out at the bar and notice some rich guy with over 100 years on his watch buying everybody drinks.
You in one? I don't have time to gamble anymore.
So Will, being the thoughtful Hispanic man he is, he goes over and he's like, dude, you will probably get jumped and have all of your time stolen.
Somebody's gonna clean that clock. Can't take that much time and let you live to tell about it.
Oh, like, it's so stupid. Like, why? Who wrote that?
Yeah.
The time puns get so exhausting, you guys. Like, you never get a break from it if you watch this movie. I'm not exaggerating. It's every other line is some kind of time pun. So rich guy doesn't really care about anything, and some goons come in looking to steal some time. They call themselves the Minutemen.
Minuteman, walk away, Will.
As if any mob in real life is named off of money-related words. Like, could you imagine a gang called the Dollar Bills or the Pennies? Yeah, I just got jumped by the gold bars. So everyone takes off, besides Will, because Will is a really good guy, and he wants to help this rich stranger. So these goons are aiming to just take his forearm and withdraw all the time. Which, what I don't get though, is that throughout this movie, stealing time seems like such a rampant issue. Like, can't they just store it somewhere? They have banks, but I don't see people use the banks. It's like they just, whatever. So rich guy asks to use the restroom for a moment, and Fedora Mobster is absolutely my favorite recurring villain character. He definitely listens to bad dubstep remixes on YouTube. Will and rich guy, who we learn later is named Henry, get a chase scene up until they reach this abandoned looking warehouse. There's a lot of chase scenes in this movie. I'm not going to show them all.
You out of your mind?
Henry is 105 and admits to being there because he wants to die. He is tired of living because he's super rich, and I guess he just ran out of things to do.
We want to die. Yeah.
Will, on the other hand, is 28 years old and is very envious of this man because he has the option to just die whenever he wants while he's working at the shitty factory job. Like, he has time privilege, okay? And Henry takes a moment to spill the truth to Will, which is that there is so much time available in the US, but the mega wealthy are hoarding it all.
For a few to be immortal, many must die.
What the hell's that supposed to mean?
You really don't know, do you?
Which is supposed to be this eye-opening moment, and Will is very surprised by this. Henry tells him that he is poor and the wealthy are rich by design, because if everyone lived forever, where would they all live?
Everyone can't live forever. Where would we put them? Why do you think there are time zones?
And how would the rich stay rich? Like, you're hearing this, right? And the idea of this concept is very much a no-brainer to all of you and me. But Will is genuinely floored about this. Will had no idea. They really did everything in their power to milk the whole time thing.
Time zones. If you had as much time as I had.
If I had all that time, sure as hell wouldn't waste it.
This movie is actually just poorly made anti-capitalist propaganda. Like, if you release this movie today with Timothy Chalamet as the lead, it would be censored and it would incite riots. And then the next morning, surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise! Henry gives Will all of his time while he's sleeping, and then he dips out. He positions himself on a bridge to succumb to his death when the clock hits 0. And some underpaid worker is going to have a lot of fun cleaning up his body. Love that. The first thing Will does is hit up his work buddy, Burrell, and he gives him 10 years, and he tells him that he's gonna take his mom to the capital, New Greenwich. Mom, like I mentioned earlier, makes her very expensive 2-day payment for her past due loan and gets on the bus. But come to find out, the bus price rose up by an hour, and she can't afford it because she gave Will 30 minutes for lunch.
It's always been an hour.
Well, now it's 2.
Since when?
So she has to walk home, but the problem is that she doesn't have enough time to get there. She has to run.
I have an hour and a half.
And you better run.
So Will notices that his mommy isn't at the bus stop and starts running when he realizes that something was wrong. He sees her, they're running towards each other, but he was out of time.
Get out.
There's not enough seconds in the day. It's just a little too late.
Kind of honestly, I think I was really ahead of my time. I think things have finally kind of started catching up a little bit.
Like, I feel like this could have been avoided. He could have just met her he had the time. He got paid. He could have taken the bus to the loan place. Whatever, that just makes too much sense.
It's goofy, is what it is. It's fucking goofy. What the heck?
The next day, we meet Cillian Murphy's character, who is referred to as the timekeeper, so that's what I'm gonna call him.
What I was thinking was he might have bought this on himself. How long you been keeping time, Jaeger? 5 years. Let me know what you think when you've been doing it for 50.
So timekeepers are like the FBI in this movie, and anytime someone with a lot of time passes away, he investigates what happened to them.
What would you like us to do, sir? What we always do. Follow the time.
25 years old, by the way. Unless you're Mr. Beast, you have no business looking like that at 25. Will, who is clearly disgruntled by his mother's passing, calls a rich person taxi to take him to New Greenwich, which is where he was originally going to take his mom and live there, maybe. So New Greenwich is the capital. It's like the District 1 place. It's where the elite lives. Now to get there, you have to cross several time zones. And the closer to the time zone is to New Greenwich, the higher the fee. And the first fee is an entire month. And the payment to get to New Greenwich was a year. So clearly this place was just impossible to get into unless you were born with money. The driver knows Will is clearly not a local and asks him what he's doing there. And Will is like, I'm gonna take them for everything they've got.
I'm gonna take them for everything they've got.
No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. Sorry.
Which I would assume is a terrorism threat. So it's probably not the smartest thing to say if you're trying to blend in. New Greenwich is very bougie minimalist. It's very sleek and everyone looks exactly the same, except for Amanda Seyfried, who plays Sylvia. Sylvia is very pretty in this movie because, I mean, I personally think the dark hair bob, which is clearly a wig, it looks so good on here. And I think that she should have made it a permanent look. We'll talk about the wig later. I have some issues with it, but Will checks into his hotel and the standard room there costs 2 months. But he decides to get a suite.
Give me a suite.
Oh, large. You got your money. He got money.
I gotta say though, the math is not mathing for me because 2 months is how much a standard room costs. How much does the rent there cost? I know the Henry guy seemed like he was super wealthy, but after knowing the real cost of luxury New Greenwich, Henry was a brokey. Henry worked at the checkout line at Clock Mart. He was flipping patties at McSeconds. But Will isn't really thinking ahead. He's just spending all the new time he got, living it up. His breakfast cost him another 2 months.
That'll be 8.5 weeks. You do everything a little too fast.
Not everything.
I can't take this. This is gonna mess up my equilibrium.
Oh my God, Justin, what are you doing? It's early. So he decides that he's gonna have a casino night. He is now expected to give a year to the casino as a voluntary donation.
There is a voluntary donation. Most give a year.
I would rather work at the restaurant.
But that would be your path.
Sorry, Baldy, how about you lick my balls with that commie shit? But Will wants to raise his penis in front of everyone, I guess, okay? And he gives them a year. One thing I failed to mention earlier is that Will is really good at poker.
Because ever since you stopped playing, you started playing. I don't have time to gamble anymore.
He was unbeatable at the bar because Will can do everything. And okay, this guy can fuck right off with 25. That's just not, no. I'm sorry, I will not accept that one. Will looks at his clock and he somehow has 150 more years than what he had earlier that day. I don't know if they thought the audience just wouldn't notice something like that, but it seems like they could have just made Henry have 100 more years on his watch. That would have easily solved the problem, but I don't know, it's just a really negligent mistake to make. Felipe is the dude playing cards with Will, and he is Bezos level rich. Okay, he has like over 1,000 years on his clock. Sylvia sits down at the poker table, and we learn that she is Felipe's daughter. Felipe sets the bet at 250 years, leaving Will with a few seconds left before the hand is shown, and then he wins 1,000 years because Will can do everything. Sylvia invites Will to a party at her dad's place, and on the way there, he buys himself a new car for 59 years. And I'm still side-eyeing Henry's measly century with a price tag like that.
If you had as much time as I had.
So at the party, Will gets introduced to Felipe's family and properly introduces himself to Sylvia. I gotta say, Sylvia, I love the bob look. I actually really love the bob look, but your bob wig is definitely elongated. The bun you clearly have under the wig cap is making you look like Indiana Jones in the Crystal Skull. Somebody please deflate Amanda before it oh my God, guys, it's getting bigger. Oh my God, guys, somebody do something. It's very elongated now. Sylvia is being a little accusatory to Will, and she doubts that he comes from time because she saw him running like the people in the ghetto run.
I saw you run. Reminds me of people that come from the ghetto.
You know what? I'm trying to stay positive, but this bitch is getting on my nerves.
Sometimes I envy them.
So she's going on about how the rich don't live because they're afraid of dying, and Sylvia does this super annoying thing where she both emphasizes how horrible the poor has it, but also victimizes herself as this rich trust fund babe.
The clock is good for no one. The poor die and the rich don't live.
Oh my God, I'm so skinny. Oh my God, what am I gonna do?
Will also abruptly grabs her, runs outside to go swim in the ocean, which seems like a really out-of-pocket thing to do at this party. The rich refuse to go in the ocean because if you drown, all that time is wasted. I guess the rich are just very careful and delicate creatures. Like if rich people in this movie found out that rich people in real life go to space on purpose, they would shit themselves. Will and Sylvia, they get naked and jump in the ocean. And you gotta be careful with that elongated wig, Sylvia, I'm just saying. So they get back to the party before anyone notices that they're missing, and the timekeepers interrupt the party because they're looking for Will. The timekeeper interrogates Will and ends up taking the majority of the time he has because he doesn't believe that Henry gave him all that time. And he apparently was worth thousands of years, which I personally find hard to believe.
Henry Hamilton was worth thousands of years.
Maybe he just got his time caught up in private equity or something. I also find it really hard to believe that the timekeepers apparently keep track of every single time transaction on a big screen with many people paid to micromanage that data. But they can't fathom how Will got all this extra time, even though there was a camera showing Henry pranking himself out. And there was also cameras at the casino showing Will winning that money. So the investigation part of this was very inconsistent.
I am a timekeeper. I only concern myself with what I can measure. Seconds, minutes, hours. I keep time, and that time is in the wrong hands.
Really? Will is like, hey, people die in the hood every day. Why don't you care about them?
There's mass murder in the ghetto every day.
And the timekeeper says something about Will's dad.
I heard another man talk like that. You were probably too young to remember your father.
And Will just leaves that hanging. Like he does not question it. He does not probe for more answers on that. He just leaves that alone. So I don't know why he didn't question that at all. And then all hell breaks loose when he grabs Sylvia as a hostage and escapes. What I don't understand is Will punching the valet driver unconscious for actually no reason after he willingly gives him the keys to the vehicle.
I'll blow her head off.
Like, what is the valet going to say that law enforcement isn't already going to know? They're leaving the way that they came in. And a lot's going on. Sylvia's freaking out. Like, she's actively being kidnapped. And Will is driving recklessly. She's also convinced he's a thug and that Will murdered Henry.
Lend me an hour.
We're giving you a second.
So the next morning, Will and Sylvia get back to his hometown, and Will accidentally drives on some spikes, which causes a car crash that is definitely not in any way a Hot Wheels car. Not a Hot Wheels car, guys. The budget for this movie was $40 million. Okay, moving on. Fedora Guy seemingly has no injuries after being dubstepped by the bathroom stall door. And he's also really rocking his little heart out with that look. You know he was really excited about that hat.
He's gone in minutes. He'll wake up dead. That'll be a shock.
The goons steal a decade from Sylvia, and now they both only have minutes until they time out.
Where did my time go? I have a half hour.
Minutemen.
Is everyone in the ghetto steal?
I'm surprised that Sylvia only had a decade on her while her father has thousands of years. Like, the value of time and the amount of time people have in this movie seems extremely inconsistent. So from here on out, Sylvia's character is just going to be entirely dependent on Will's character, and she's going to act like a weak, measly woman until the credits roll. The timekeeper and his associates find the wrecked car, so they're like dealing with that, and then Will and Sylvia run to Burrell's apartment to possibly get some of the 10 years that Will gave him, because they're gonna die in 4 minutes. But when Will knocks on the door, his wife answers, and she gets mad at Will for giving her husband a decade.
You gave him a decade. Drank himself to death with 9 years on his clock. Goodbye, Will.
Okay, let me just rephrase this. Burrell drank himself to death, and this is somehow Will's fault? Because your husband didn't have self-control?
Will, we have minutes. Exactly. What is that supposed to mean? Shut up. We're gonna die, Will. Do you wanna die? Shut up.
You know that flapping thing you were doing with your mouth just then?
You mean expressing my opinion?
No more of that.
Yeah, stupid woman. How dare you react to certain death? So with seconds to spare, Sylvia sells her diamond earrings for 2 days, and her and Will both split that. Will is kind of unnecessarily grabbing Sylvia around town like a wild animal, and they call her dad so he can demand a ransom. Also, quick note, the timekeeper is already in New Greenwich, except he was literally in Dayton 30 minutes ago. The travel time between time zones is another super inconsistent thing about this movie, because far too often do they make it seem like Dayton is 5 minutes away from New Greenwich. But you're literally crossing time zones. Like, crossing time zones takes a lot of time to do. So anyways, Will demands 1,000 years to be distributed to the people in Dayton. And Timekeeper is like, whoa, man, you sound a lot like your father did right before he died. Will is still convinced that his dad died in a fight. And he doesn't even question the comments that the Timekeeper makes until the Timekeeper physically corrects him.
Keep talking like him, you're gonna die like him. My father died in a fight.
What's not clicking? What's not clicking?
God, everybody in this movie is so damn annoying. Felipe is hesitant on giving 1,000 years away because he doesn't want poor people to have it. So he just sends the Timekeeper to look for Will and Sylvia as if they weren't just there. Like, what do you mean? Will takes Sylvia back to the apartment that him and his mom lived in. And Sylvia, to me, looks like that one picture of Hillary Clinton visiting regular people. She changes into his mom's clothes, which I thought was kind of weird, but whatever. Sylvia asks him how to fight in a fight. And the logic behind fighting logistics is so painfully stupid. And I'm guessing whoever is receiving or giving the time depends on the actual placement of the forearm. So Will's arm wrestling strategy is to let the opponent win until he's almost out of time and quickly flips his arm at the very last second. And I guess all the time that his dad won from a fighting match was immediately given to other people. And Will is like,
I think he was killed for giving away what he won.
I'm starting to think that my dad was actually killed. No, really? The next morning, Will and Sylvia find out that her dad did not wire any of the time to Dayton. Will tells her, all right, good try. You can go home if you want. And he just folds right away, except now Sylvia wants to continue on, but Will is still set on just giving up, which I found to be very unlike his supposed nobleness from earlier in the movie. He gives her a gun, they make out, and she calls her dad, and as soon as she calls him, the Timekeeper pulls up and she shoots him. And you think now would be a good time to run away, but Will decides to stick around and give him 4 hours. There was no reason for this, absolutely zero reason. Will just decided, hey, let me give the person who has been hunting me down this entire movie so far because I'm a shithead with a buzz cut. And then when Sylvia confronts Will about giving him time, all he had to say about this was, the others won't show up for hours and he'll die in the ghetto anyways.
Why did you give him time? You should have taken it.
He could die in the ghetto.
Problem solved. Unnecessary conflicts drive me insane. There wasn't any reason for him to do this other than to do it. And then the other time people show up before the ghetto could even do anything. Sylvia then asks Will what the new plan is because Will is the man. In this last section of the movie, Sylvia just gets increasingly stupid. She's just very much a deer in the headlights.
I'm not fast enough. See who you got back there.
Whoa! I was just trying to help.
This doesn't look like a tampon. I know this might be hard to believe, but the plot actually gets worse because now it transitions into a romanticization of Bonnie and Clyde.
I owe you these.
You shouldn't have. We look cute together.
Doesn't say you're wanted.
You've forgotten I shot a cop.
It was your first time.
Y'all going to excuse me just a second. I've got to go pee and then throw up.
Will offers to lie and say that he forced her to do everything so she wouldn't get in trouble and she could go back to her life if she wanted to, but Sylvia is being so annoying about being rich. She argues that the life of the rich is bad.
Go back to what? Do I really want to spend my whole life trying not to die by mistake?
The Timekeeper visits Felipe and tells him, hey bro, your daughter literally just shot me and doesn't want to be saved. And also, she has a warrant out for her arrest. Felipe tries to bribe him and the Timekeeper refuses to accept any amount because he doesn't want a rich guy's daughter to be above the law.
This is called a trigger, and you don't pull it until you actually want to shoot something.
Why is she acting as if she never shot anything before? She literally shot the Timekeeper, the villain of the movie. And later they drive a truck into one of her dad's banks because he owns all the banks and that's how he got all his time. The vault with all the time thingies felt way too easy to access with no guards or anything. And I'm also confused as to the way they need all that metal to store time because why wouldn't they be able to store it on the computer or something? It just seems really random to me. And then a bunch of random citizens in Dayton take a bunch of time and that's cool. But the Timekeeper also never cares about all this time being out in the open for people to grab.
No one's watching our clocks, huh? Get out of here. I'll confiscate every second.
Even though he apparently cares about poor people having time, no one gets reprimanded for this. They all get to keep the time they stole. Burrell's widowed wife receives some time, which is great. But I don't know, I mean, what if she drinks herself to death because of the time? Like, do you really want to risk that? And then Will is running around Dayton acting like he's going to mug people and then surprises them with time.
Don't move.
I don't have much.
Why hold them at gunpoint? What even is this movie? Like, that's so unnecessary. Why are you scaring people? The Minutemen are also back, and I forgot about them at this point in the movie, but they're back. They're now a problem because they see a reward for 10 years to capture Will and Sylvia, and they want that 10 years. So the Minutemen are now a problem. The Minutemen are now a problem. Really quick though, I have to divert to Felipe and his wife's thoughts on all this because Felipe is very concerned that his daughter wants to kill him. And his wife, however, turns the tables and says that he has been killing her.
Does she want to kill me?
You were killing her, Felipe. You're suffocating her. You suffocate us all.
Like, I don't like Felipe, but I get zero context from this, zero details. Like, in what way are you being suffocated? Is it the rich thing? Is it the relationship? Also, I legitimately have no idea what she's talking about because people just drop one-liners in this movie like it's for no reason.
You suffocate us all.
We all say true. Yeah, I guess.
Will and Sylvia show up at a hotel and book all the rooms, so I guess to hide better or whatever. And they get clocked by some guy who is really eyeballing the reward money. The Minutemen, by the way, start threatening people for information on Will and Sylvia. Fedora is just sucking the time out of people and putting it right in his hat. Ultimately, Sylvia and Will get ambushed in their hotel room by the Minutemen. That Fedora guy, to me, is just so ridiculous looking. Like, why they do all that? We learn that the Timekeepers leave the Minutemen alone, even though they're doing all these killings, as long as they keep it within Dayton, which feels random and doesn't make much sense to me. This interaction also becomes super anticlimactic because the Minuteman leader decides that he wants to settle this ordeal via fight, which Will wins and escapes. The Minutemen were definitely an afterthought to me in this movie. The subplot of them being an obstacle was really unnecessary. Like they could have done this entire movie without the Minutemen existing. After escaping, Will and Sylvia notice that the more money that poor people have, the higher that interest rates climb because rich people are greedy and somehow this is surprising. They realize that the only way to truly fix the poverty issue is to steal all of her dad's time. Will and Sylvia stage this very flawed trap where Will poses as one of her dad's security guards. And once Felipe is held at gunpoint, they practically walk him to where the 1 million time is stored. And I don't see any backup or any attempt from security to do anything when they see them walk away. Felipe pleads with Will, saying that giving people all this time will cripple the system, and that rich people won't be able to live forever if everyone else can live comfortably.
For a few to be immortal, many must die. No one should be immortal if even one person has to die.
It's giving, I'm 14 years old and this is very deep. Everyone's freaking out and Will and Sylvia book it so they can get to Dayton and distribute all the time that they have. They get there in all of 5 minutes after a short chase scene. Again, not sure how the whole time zone thing works. The United States is only made up of 2 cities, I guess. Will decides to give all of the time money to that orphan girl and is trusted to distribute it to everyone, all while they're being chased by the timekeeper. Guess we're just gonna trust that the people in Dayton aren't going to riot over 1 million years. Will and Sylvia are now trying to get to Livingston.
We gotta get to Livingston.
I don't remember them elaborating on that, but whatever. They get in a final standoff with the timekeeper, who doesn't have any character arc or learning moment. All we get from him is additional lore that he used to be poor in Dayton and worked his way into living in New Greenwich.
You're from here, aren't you? Long time ago. Yeah, I keep time.
And then he dies because he forgot to reload his time.
Homosexuals. Damn homosexuals.
That's it. That's how this asshole goes. Anyways.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine.
But oh no, now they both only have a minute left until they get pranked. And I'm like, I'm going insane because did they not just have 1 million time right on them that they could have given themselves like a day, just like a little buffer to avoid this from happening. But now they're arguing about who can get to Livingston quicker.
You can get there, I can't.
Bitch, figure this out. You're gonna die. And then they start making out. Y'all, your bodies are about to expire. Y'all need to focus. And then they remember, oh, wait, there's the timekeeper's car. Let's see if there's any time in there. So they go to book it to the car. Will gets there first and gets some time. We get a repeat of the way Will's mom dies, except Sylvia lives because I guess she's more important. And at this point, so much stolen money or time, I guess, is in circulation that it can't be fixed and factories shut down. People are crossing time zones by foot. It's this whole thing. And the movie ends sort of open-ended with Will and Sylvia and what I assume to be Livingston robbing a bank so they can steal more time, money, and give it away. And that's how this movie ends. And I just want to say that the original thought behind this movie is a pretty solid idea, right? Like, let's use time as a metaphor for how much billionaires steal from people every day. This movie is supposed to teach people that billionaires shouldn't exist, which is a notion that I very much agree with, but the way they do it is like the goofiest way they could have done it. The one-liners and the time puns completely dilute any meaningful attempt in writing. Anyways, that's it for today. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.